Oh my goodness.
I call this meeting of the Northeast Independent School Health Advisory Council to order. This meeting is in compliance with Section 28.004 of the Texas Education Code, an applicable board policy. The council's meeting today will address only the topics on the agenda. No other topics will be discussed during the meeting. SHAC meetings are open to the public. Any person that causes disruption during the meeting will be asked to leave. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you, and with that said, the first matter on today's agenda is...
Yeah, the first matter today is the approval of the minutes from our September 21st, 2021 meeting. Can you're on point, you're ready to go. So has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Do I have a motion? Got a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor? Meeting minutes pass. There you go. So the first item on our agenda is we're going to invite Brandon Turner, who is an instructional specialist for PE and health, to come up and talk about the physical education 2022-2023 TEACS status update. Brandon?
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Brandon Turner. I am the instructional specialist for physical education here in Northeast. So one thing we are starting this year, we got new TEACS, and we are starting to put together our physical education curriculum, starting with high school, then middle school, and then finishing up in the spring with elementary. As I said, high school right now, we are in progress. We have started back in October. Middle school, we're going to run January to March. Elementary will be April to June. And please understand that when you do a curriculum, all the units, everything, it's a working document. So we're going to be adding stuff, maybe taking stuff away, that sort of thing. Our high school curriculum team right now, Chrissy Woolard from Roosevelt, Jaylene Fullen from Churchill, Joseph Colazzo from Johnson, and Jamie Grams from Eisenhower. It's real important that we pulled up a middle school rep just to kind of keep us with that vertical alignment, so we know that high school is not doing what middle school is doing, and middle school should not be doing what high school is doing. Everybody's doing something different. Always something to look forward to when it comes to curriculum at the different levels. So we are leaving behind some old TEACS, Foundations of Personal Fitness, Adventure Outdoor Education, aerobic activities, individual sports, and team sports. Those are the ones that we are going away from, and we are moving to lifetime fitness and wellness pursuits, lifetime recreation, outdoor pursuits, and skill-based lifetime activities. If you looked at both of them, if you reviewed the old and the new, it's pretty much the same thing. A few things have changed. One thing that's big, as many of you know, SEL, they threw SEL in there. That's one thing that we're really going to be looking at for all three levels. Too fast. Social emotional learning. So on October 20th, 21st, we had our first meeting with our high school curriculum team. We reviewed all the new TEACS, and we reviewed all the old units from the previous curriculum. And we started placing the old units in with the new TEACS. So we started moving stuff around. We also took some things out because, like I said, middle school is doing that. We're going to allow middle school to keep doing that. High school is going to go away from some of those items. We meet again tomorrow and Thursday. We are going to, first thing on the agenda is to review the SHAC responses. A couple weeks ago, we met with the SHAC, the kids that are part of the SHAC committee, and we gave them a list of questions to answer, and we got some of their feedback, and that's one thing I'm going to share with our curriculum team because it's all about the stakeholders. Everybody has to have a little buy-in when you're doing this curriculum. We want the kids to have that buy-in to say, hey, this is what we want to do. And that's some things we're going to talk about. Also, we're going to start adding new units within the curriculum and begin creating lesson plans and assessments to go along with that. As I said, what's next? Starting in January, we're going to begin with middle school, and then we'll finish up with elementary at the end. That is it for me. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, this is great. Y'all are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. Next, Katie Steinhoff, who's also an instructional specialist for PE and Health, is going to come forward and talk about the Health 2022-23 TEKS status update.
Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Katie. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for being here today. My thing is everything Brandon said, but for health. So can I be done? Just kidding. So we are doing basically the same thing in health. We have adopted, or we have new TEKS, Texas Central Knowledge and Skills, coming in for that 22-23 school year. So we are going through the same process with the same idea. Starting in that high school health, this is our end goal. This is where our students are going to be leaving us, right? So if we want them to have all of these essential skills, we start at the high school level so we know how we want them to exit. And then we'll make sure that our middle school and our elementary school curriculum is aligned and feeds to help make sure that by the time they get to high school, they can actually be that person. So this is our high school health review we are doing right now. We do have a team of 5 people. We are utilizing both middle school and high school teachers because we do teach our high school health curriculum at our middle school. We've tried to make sure that we kind of have all areas of the district covered with representatives from Churchill, from Nimitz, from Ed White, and I can't think of the other school right off the top of my head, but we tried to pull in a lot of our teachers from a lot of our different schools. We are bringing in, same thing kind of Brandon said, we did a lot of feedback work with our SHAC and our students, kind of asking, what are some things, like if you've been through the health curriculum in middle school or the high school curriculum, what were your takeaways? What stood out to you? What still do you think about to this day? And then we also use feedback from our actual teachers in the district during curriculum day back in August. We asked them, you guys have been teaching this for a very long time. We haven't had a new TEK adoption for a very long time. Like, what can we do to help you as teachers? We did start our 2 days. We've only had 2 days. We actually have our next 2 days, like with Brandon, coming up tomorrow and Thursday. So we're really excited to see where to go from there. Same thing. We are utilizing our middle school people. The middle school people that are working right now on the high school content, they're going to kind of be the team leads for when we bring in our middle schools in January, February, to make sure that, again, we have that alignment so that they know the ins and outs of the high school curriculum to make sure that our middle school curriculum is going to align. We set goals for ourselves at the very beginning. We decided that these were going to be our top 3 goals to review the new TEKS coming in and seeing how does our current curriculum, what are the things that we actually teach in class right now, align to what's being given to us for next year. We are going to revive lessons, meaning we need to update outdated information if we can, with good, reliable resources, and then get more interactive lessons, not so much sit and get like some of our lessons had gotten, where you just kind of sit there, listen, do an activity, listen, do an activity. So we're trying to just make sure that it's just a little bit more interactive. And then the third is updating our structure for our teachers. It's not a pretty setup right now. It's not easily accessible. And so we felt that that was like a big need. That's just kind of like a side bonus that we were working on. So our TEK alignment, we did realize that our high school curriculum meets about 90% of our reviewable TEKs. We're reviewing TEKs 1 through 17. I do say reviewable TEKs because we do have an HSAE unit or a reproductive health unit, but for the TEKs, per policies, like that is a reviewable unit unto itself. And so we are taking the time to review that separately at a future date to make sure that we give it the exact review that it needs. Right now we have textbook and an entire curriculum, so we want to make sure that we're focused on the curriculum that we have 1 through 17, and then making sure that we can actually focus our main focuses on what we would consider to be a big topic. So we cover about 90% of of the TEKs that we're reviewing right now. We identified what we're missing. We're missing specific TEKs here and there, but really what it came down to, what we were most excited to see was our most common TEKs, which was the very first one, that students understand health literacy, promote health behaviors, and how to access and evaluate healthcare information to make informed decisions. We realized that our current health curriculum basically creates a health literate student, which is like the overarching goal. So we realize like our health curriculum is very well rounded and we're doing a really good job. So now we need to just kind of spice up and make it a little bit more accessible. Right now we are reviving our lessons, updating the organization of it, taking the lessons that already fit Where do they go? Should we change them? What do we need to update? Just kind of sitting with each specific lesson and deciding, okay, that's kind of just like the teacher organization part of it that we're going through right now. The part that I'm kind of helping is that updating in the structure. We're making sure that it's more accessible in a digital format. It is 2021, so we're making sure that everything is very much digitally accessible, so that we can make sure that not only is it digitally accessible and easy for our teachers, it's digitally accessible for our students too. So we can have multiple different platforms that help that and actually bring in collaboration and bring in innovation and actually just make it a little bit more student-centered. We are looking at making what's called a YAG, or a year at a glance, but technically it would be a SAG, a semester at a glance, because it's only a semester course. But basically just hyper-docking and just making something very easily accessible for our teachers. Right now, to get to our curriculum in our teacher pages on the Northeast website, it's like click after click after click. It's very excessive clicking. And so we just realized we needed to kind of rein that in a little bit. And we're utilizing our district instructional technology specialists to help us create a one simple, one-stop shop. And I can't kind of wait to show you what that's going to look like because it's pretty cool. So your role, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Your role, our goal is to present to you our middle school and high school changes for the Spring 22, the May SHAC meeting, to where we can actually show you and present to you this is how we have changed our content, and give you an implementation plan for our elementary school. Again, with elementary school being really finished kind of more so over the summer. But your job, you guys, your role is to basically help us review and recommend those curriculum content changes. If we update some information or if we actually bring in more information that has not been in our curriculum before, that we make sure that we present that to you guys so that you can help us give that recommendation to the board. And that would be taking it to the board for that fall implementation in fall 2022. All right. That's for me. Questions, comments, concerns?
Do you want to do the...
Can they ask questions?
Not at this time. Do you want to do the textbook review?
Oh, yes.
If I may make one observation,
Yes, please.
stark differences between your PowerPoint and hers. I just want to say that, Brandon. So, just,
That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm a classroom teacher.
I spent 14 years in the gym. So
14 years in the gym. That was a legit PowerPoint. That's awesome. We were just talking about that.
we were just talking about that 10 minutes ago.
All right, so I will keep it going with the textbook review information and timeline, our instructional materials. It is technically called a textbook review, but honestly, we are reviewing what we would consider instructional materials, because we do know a lot of this is digitally based too. So sometimes it's not actually a printed textbook, so instructional materials. This is what we'll go through, just our lead committee, districts. Oh, this is the actual timeline, sorry.
Yes.
So way back when, just a little bit ago, just a couple weeks ago, we actually met as a lead committee. We talked about this at our last SHAC meeting, where we were going to want to invite people to be a part of lead committee, to actually be a part of the rubric finalization of how are we going to actually grade and look over these instructional materials. And we actually did have that review meeting on November 4th. We got the feedback of how we can make a reviewable rubric easier for members of the SHAC to read, because it is very teacher heavy, what's the word I'm looking for? Vocabulary. So trying to, when there's acronyms like SEL, what does that actually mean? What are you looking for? So we had a lot of really good conversation about how to help members that may not be super familiar with curriculum in general. What are you looking for? So that was a really informative meeting. Our district staff lead committee meeting is actually coming up right after the Thanksgiving break. And basically this is for all of the members or all of our people on our campuses that are going to be receiving the actual materials on campus that will be housed for our teachers to be reviewing. We're going to give them their responsibilities, kind of give the oversight of this is what the rubric is, this is how you're going to do it, this is how you need to establish your review space on your campus, and they're going to get all that information. Our review window is December 8th through January 20th, meaning everybody can go, and everybody, I mean you guys as well, can review those instructional materials for all elementary, middle, and high school curriculums or instructional materials that have been sent. So we have reviewable material at the elementary level for both PE and health, and middle school and high school health information or health instructional materials, as well as high school instructional materials. So that review window, December 8th through January 20th, is open to be able to go look at it, take your rubric, really sit with the information and see, okay, what is the instructional materials that this publisher is offering? The publisher's hearing is January 20th, and that is a Zoom space where if you've gone through the review, you've looked at things, you should have questions, and there are some things that you should be questioning the publishers on, and that publisher's hearing is the time to do it. You will get the opportunity to sit with, basically kind of put the publisher right there in the front and center of the Zoom meeting and get to ask them the questions that you have. They're given the opportunity to give about a 20-minute or so presentation, and then they'll go into breakout rooms, and you'll be able to pop in and ask and question and be able to sit with those publishers specifically and ask them your questions. So that's and if you have reviewed, you can go to the publisher's hearing, or anyone can go to anyone may go to the publisher's hearing. You don't have to review the materials. We are picking up, the reviews are due January 28th, and this is a very important date especially for our campuses, because if our campus teachers do not have a review in at that point, they cannot vote, which is a big deal for them because they're the ones that are, delivering the materials. And if they don't review, you cannot actually vote. So that is a big, big date for our campus people. Our voting window is January 31st through February 4th. If you've reviewed and turned in a Google form, that's how I'm sorry, I didn't explain that, but that's how we're collecting our rubrics and our reviews, is by Google form. We have your email. If you've given us an email, we give you a vote, We give you the opportunity to vote, and you have that window to get that voting link done. Which instructional material would you decide? That is, and let me clarify, that voting window is specifically for our on-campus people, that just them at that point. They will then present, or we will then present to you what was recommended from our campus people, our campus teachers, our campus instruction people, or like everybody from our campus that has voted, those teachers. They will then present to you guys to give their recommendation, saying we think as teachers, as the experts in this field considered, this is the instructional material that would be best for us in our campuses or for our district. And then you guys will get to make your vote at that point. And then we hope to be on time to present that recommendation to our board on March 14th so that we can then implement and get the ball rolling and things ordered in time for next year. The review rubric is the Google form. There is a Google form for each publisher. We've tried to make it very clear so that you see if you are evaluating Quaver, then it says Quaver really big at the top. If you are evaluating Goodhart Wilcox, then that is what is very big at the top. So we tried to make it very, very user-friendly to be able, because Google Forms all look the same. So we've tried to make it a little bit more user-friendly so that if you're evaluating one, you know exactly who you are looking at with that instructional material. For you guys to help with campuses and keeping campuses, they're not necessarily closed, but to just help with your review, we will have your instructional review materials at the Northeast Sports Park. So you can come to the sports park, check out all the different publishers that have brought their things, or if it's an online platform, be able to play around with the online platform. You just need to schedule a time with one of us to come by between January 8th. December 8th and January 20th, and then we're there between 8 and 4. So you would just need to come to the sports park for that. It's pretty central. I kind of went in really detail with all of with all that detail part. But again, per the BDF legal, the school district does consider the advice of the SHAC when making changes to the health curriculum. So this would be a big SHAC recommendation here, and you're able to vote again at that February 22nd meeting. So you are able to vote in that sense, but our teachers must complete a review rubric in order to vote. Oh, too many. I did go through this. Sorry, we have Quaver Ed for K through 5, PE, and health. Quaver is an online platform. We have McGraw-Hill for 6th grade health as well as high school health. And that does say high school health 1 because there's technically 2 high school health classes. We only have 1. But that is both text as well as online. And then Goodhart Wilcox for both 6th grade and high school health, as well as one of our PE courses, Lifetime Fitness and Wellness Pursuits. So there are instructional materials for all 3 of those at that, or excuse me, from that publisher. So just a quick timeline. We just kind of went through this. We're at November. We've had our lead committee, got our campus rep meeting after we come back from the break. Review window opens in December, closes in January with our publisher hearing. Voting window opens in February with our SHAC presentation, and hopefully with that board recommendation. Questions on textbook review, process, timeline, all of that. Yes, ma'am.
How many textbooks were we able to even look at that the state authorized this year?
Repeat the question and then answer.
So the question was, how many textbooks were we able to look at to decide what to review? I don't know off the top of my head.
I'll say it.
Okay.
So as a district, we only review textbooks that meet 100% of the TEKS. We are open to all of them that have met 100% of the TEKS. This was it. We had a couple others, but they weren't even close. Human kinetics, I think, was about in the 80s range. We had Lesson B, which submitted something else, which they were about the 56% range. And those are the ones that we're looking at. We only review ones that meet 100% of the TEKS, and that is all. That is our district standard.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
When it says teachers and campuses are voting, is that just from the committee that's reviewing, not open?
It's open to people that would teach PE and health. So even if they're not like on the lead committee that helped us do the rubric, it can be any of the PE and health teachers on that campus.
So they're all kind of invited.
Yes. Yes. Well, the campus teachers will do it at their campus. The sports park is mainly for you guys. We wanted to give you guys a central location to look at that. And one other thing we do want to point out, like with our instructional materials, they are, especially with our, not especially, but with our health and PE classes, they're supplemental materials. A lot of our curriculum is built, and we try not to build it around a textbook sometimes because it does tend to get a little bit outdated if it goes 17 years before another textbook adoption. But so that's just kind of one of the things that we try to look at with the instructional materials. Last question. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will now give this to Brett.
Thank you, Katie. We just want to take a moment to remind everybody, if you haven't already, to sign in by using the QR code on your agenda. If you have any further questions, you're welcome to email those to shac@neisd.net. That's SHAC@neisd.net. Thank you.
And so our final presentation will be Britt Klein to come up and talk to us about It's Time Texas Community Challenge. If you've been on the SHAC before, we've done this for the last few years. And so, Britt, we turn it over to you.
All right. So in your packet from today, you should have gotten a flyer. It's the nice and colorful one. It does talk about the It's Time Texas Community Challenge. The reason why I'm bringing it up now, it doesn't actually start until January, but we won't see you guys again as a full SHAC until February. And so I'm bringing it up now so that we can go ahead and sign up. You can use that QR code there. Don't we love QR codes nowadays? So you can use that QR code to sign up. Whenever you do go through the sign up, make sure to select that you're part of a district team, select the district. If you're part of a school, go ahead and select that as well. It'll still tag it as Northeast ISD. That way we can get all those points. We've done pretty well in this competition for the past few years, so let's not change that moving forward. The next thing coming up would be the Rock and Roll Marathon, which is Saturday, December 4th and Sunday, December 5th. They do have a couple $500 grants available for groups of 10 or more that come and volunteer on either one of those days at a split or the water station. If you guys have any questions about that, please see Carolyn Wheat with San Antonio Sports. And I think that is all that I have. Do you guys have any questions about the It's Time Texas Community Challenge? Pretty straightforward, I think. All right. And again, if you guys have any questions that you think of later, please make sure email us at shac@neisd.net, and we will do our best to answer those as quickly as possible. Thank you, guys.
Well, we just breezed through that meeting. This meeting is now adjourned at 12:40 p.m. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at the next SHAC meeting in February.